everyone, this is Dan Reinman with Reinman Cues. In my last video, I gave a general overview of the Q Demon CNC XL and the spinning station from Billiards Innovations, why I chose it, and how it fits in my shop, and the kind of work that it allows me to do. In this video, I want to go a little more technical. This is less about why I like the Q Demon and more about what it actually is, how it's built, what are the key components, and the real-world specifications that you'd want to know if you were thinking about adding one to your shop. So what the Q Demon actually is. At its core, the Q Demon CNC XL is a purpose-built CNC platform designed specifically for cue making. This isn't just a converted wood router or a general use mill that's been adapted after the fact. Everything from the working envelope to the motion system has been designed around round cue components and cue maker tolerances. The goal here is predictable, repeatable accuracy on things like inlays and pockets, engravings and logos, ring billets, joint protectors, wrap grooves, doweling and shaft work when paired with the spinning station. It's essentially a precision CNC workstation built around cue geometry, including flat stock. The machine is built on a rigid 60-61 aluminum structure with supported linear rails and ball screws. This matters because cue work doesn't have much tolerance for flex or chatter. You're cutting small pockets, tight radii, and concentric features, so rigidity and repeatability are huge. The Q Demon is spec'd for repeatability down to about a half a thousandth, which is exactly the target where cue work needs to live. The spindle is liquid cooled, high-speed unit, capable of running up to 24,000 RPMs, uses a ER11 collet system, which gives you flexibility with small engraving tools, end mills, specialty cutters commonly used in cue work. That spindle speed is ideal for inlay pockets, engraving, clean wrap grooves, fine detail work without burning or tear out. Cooling is handled externally. There's a pump that's sitting down below the machine that I won't go into showing here, but it's essentially antifreeze that runs through a pump and constantly cycles through the spindle to keep it nice and cool. This also helps to keep the noise down. This spindle is really quiet. The machine runs on stepper motors sized appropriately for the mass and type of work being done here. They're spec 57 1.8 degree 2 amp 2-phase 4-wire stepper motors. They're controlled using an industry standard CNC software, which means you're not locked into a proprietary ecosystem. It makes learning, toolpaths, and support much easier long term. So just to summarize capabilities before we get into more of the physical specs, quick lineup of the kinds of operations that this setup supports: butt tapering, shaft profiling, as long as you get the spinning station. That's the unit back there. Spinning station also has a controller board. That's this over here. On the controller board, you can make it spin clockwise, counterclockwise, start, stop. It remembers the RPMs that you set. Spin wheel, up and down. You can do precision doweling for accurate, repeatable assembly. Ring billets, inlays and pockets, from simple dots to full geometric work. Wrap grooves, cut cleanly without hand cleanup. Engraving for logos, initials, or serial markings. And the key thing here is it all happens on one consistent platform without bouncing parts between multiple machines. So some of the real world numbers. This thing has a working area of 35 inches by 5 inches on the Z up and down and 16 inches wide. That's more than enough travel for full butt sections, joint work, ring bars, and fixture setups without wasting space on unnecessary travel. The machine runs on standard 110 volt power No 220 needed here. And there's no special wiring, no phase converters, no industrial electrical work setup needed. That's a big deal for a home shop or a small professional shop. Weight and stability wise, this thing weighs in at around 225 pounds. Not including computer and monitor setup, of course. The minimum recommended workstation size is probably what I've got set up right here. I've got a bench that's only 24 inches, and it's an 8-foot long bench, but I also have a bandsaw at the end of it. So cut off 2 feet from that, and that's 24 by 72 inches. That's the minimum I think you could get away with. Keep in mind that on my setup here, the gantry hangs over a couple, 2-3 inches. In the back, I'm barely missing the wall with the stepper motor. So recommended setup would be at 28 inches wide by 72 inches. That's more ideal. And that's a very manageable footprint for a CNC system that's capable for this level of work. So let me just touch base real quick on the spinning station setup. You can see the tailstock here. This thing will slide to whatever size you need it to, whatever length. Spinning station I set up in the back here, and that's for doing true concentric shaft profiling, controlled butt tapering, wrap groove cutting, uniform doweling operations, and it does all of that without adding another machine to the shop. Just last night I was doing some coring over on my Mid-American lathe, and while I was coring I was running the profile to create my core dowels. Not only would it run it to where all I had to do is some light sanding, so it was within a thousandth or two, perfect, ready to slide into the core, but then also with a couple of hits of the buttons I was able to cut my glue grooves out, both the linear grooves and the cross-cut grooves for doing Gorilla Glue. So hopefully this gives you a clearer picture of what the Q Demon CNC XL actually is, from the components to the capabilities to the real-world specs that matter when you're setting up a shop. For me, the appeal is that this machine is clearly designed for someone who understands cue making. It's not just a CNC in general, but cue maker workflows and tolerance specifically. So thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you again soon.